Can you guys see that? Okay. I ask, I can see it on my phone, so I know you can. Okay. So today our first one is grief loss and our response. So our goals today is just for us to just realize that our number one responsibility when it comes to our campers and grief and response, and then understanding how grief can impact a camper at camp. Obviously, with the type of camp that we do, this is very important because of the different situations that our campers are coming from. So let's get started. This one's going to be more participation, or at least we're going to try to make it more participation. So just with an opening question, what is our number one responsibility when it comes to helping campers with grief and loss? You can think about it for a second, and then if anyone wants to share.
I was going to say just making sure they're okay and doing whatever we can to ensure that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say making sure that they have access to our MHPs. Obviously, that would be like an in-person thing because we don't have them right now. But yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I would say just supporting them in any way we can and trying to make sure they know that they're always there for them and we got their back.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Yeah, ultimately, and it's just about really creating an emotionally safe space for our campers so that way we can do all of those things. So we can support them, we can get them access to help if they need it, and just letting them know that we are there for them. And if they need something, they can come to us, or if it's something that we can't handle, something we can't, I guess, like legally do because we're not mental health professionals, then we know the resources that we can use to get our campers help. So, okie dokie. So, going off of this, sorry, hold on one second. Not my computer being weird. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys like 2 minutes for this activity. I want you to, this is so funny, either write down or just think, what do you know about brushing your teeth? And what's the procedure for brushing your teeth? So it'll give you like a minute or so to think about that. Okay, I feel like that's enough awkward silence. So who wants to share what you know about brushing your teeth?
It's good for your oral health, apparently.
Excellent. You said apparently, and all I can think of is that kid's like, apparently really good for our teeth health.
Apparently, I've never been on live television before.
That's all I can think of when I hear that word. Awesome. Yeah. Great response. Anyone else?
It helps prevent plaque, gingivitis, and cavities.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. This is so good. I love this.
It hasn't always been done the same way throughout history. I mean, it kind of always includes brushing your teeth, but it's only recently that we've instituted different oral care like mouthwash and toothpaste. But in the past, people would use things like wheat and just honestly sticks to brush their teeth, just to get
Some
the
people
plaque off.
Romans use like urine that had been sitting for a while.
I didn't know that bit.
Love that. Love that. Oh my gosh, I
Those are
love fun facts. It gets me up in the morning, honestly. Just knowing that he's gonna share some like cool information with me.
I mean, I didn't know. To be fair, I didn't know the bit about the pee, but
There
can't
is
take credit. I can't take
Yeah.
credit for that.
Yeah, they used animal urine because of like the ammonia, and they like let it sit for a long time. I know, it's
Oh.
a bit gross, right? Not that civilized, are you, Rome?
love that. Oh, love that. Love that. Okay, what about the procedure of brushing your teeth? What do you guys do? You know, are you like an animal who doesn't wet the brush, or what's up?
Okay, so the right way to do it, I feel like I need to say this first because this is the only right way. You pick up your toothbrush, you put the toothpaste on, and then you wet your toothbrush, and then you brush your teeth for 2 minutes, making sure you get all your teeth, and then you spit out the toothpaste because apparently you're not supposed to swallow it because you couldn't poison yourself apparently. I don't know why I keep saying apparently. Sorry about that. And then you wash off your brush, you put your brush back, and you go to bed. The end.
Interesting. Interesting. Does anyone want to counter that with a different procedure?
Absolutely no. Well, you pick up your toothbrush, you wet it first, then you put your toothpaste on it, and then you wet it again, and then you brush.
That is all.
Just so your bristles are not hard, and you don't like.
That's how you know you get
Make
the
your
plaque
gums
off.
bleed.
They got that sharp edge to them.
You really just gotta scrub those teeth down. I love it. Anyone else want to counter both of those, or does that feel correct to you?
And your tongue. Don't forget your tongue.
Get the bad breath germs off the tongue. That's important. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Excellent. If no one else has a different brushing your teeth procedure, that was great. That was really fun. Hope I didn't mean to do that. So, what was the point of this? So we weren't just sitting here on this lovely morning at 9:20 talking about brushing teeth for no reason. So if there is such a wide variety among adults of something like brushing your teeth, imagine how much variety there's going to be among campers of something as significant as dealing with the loss of a parent or a parent that is currently going through cancer. So moving on, just like it's important for us to know the strategies of how we can help our campers, it's also important for us to realize the things that we cannot do. And what we cannot do is provide therapy or counseling. So we have mental health professionals at camp. At camp this year, obviously they are readily available at all times if we need them. And we have the hotline and camp advisors. So we cannot give mental health advice. So if something does come up that we know probably should be handled by a professional or someone that is above us, like the hotline, then we have to reach out to them immediately. So moving on, what should we do? So there's the 3 tasks. There's the thinking task, which is they want to understand what's happened. So this is about our campers. They want to understand what's happened. The emotional task, they want to express how they feel. And the growing task, which they want to live fully and normally. So we are going to talk a little bit about each of these strategies. So the thinking task. So every camper will be in a different place when it comes to understanding what's happening with their parent or guardian, and their understanding of cancer, death, illness, hospitals, things like that can all be affected by age, by siblings, social support, school, parents' willingness to share, and a lot of other factors as well. So really, at the end of the day, it is our job to listen and provide positive social support and acknowledge what they understand about their parent or their guardian situation. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. There we go. Okay, so the feelings that they express and their experiences are just as real for them as yours are for you. Um, so providing positive social support means that we are going to give them space to feel the feelings that they have and express them. We're not going to judge them or correct them or try to interpret them. We're just there to really listen to them. So we are going to, well, we would break down into small groups. Let me see how many people we have because I don't, we have like 7 people. Yeah, that feels like too many people to have just in one group. So I'll break us down into smaller groups and we're going to talk about these questions. So I'll put them in the chat, but let's just go over them really quickly. So how do you differentiate between sympathy and empathy? What are the best techniques for listening to campers and their experiences? What are the best ways to support and acknowledge a camper's experience? And what should we do if we disagree with a camper's assessment or find what they say to be factually incorrect? So let me stop sharing. And I will split us into small groups. Oh no, not the breakout rooms taking forever for me to do. I can assign them automatically. Oh, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna go into small groups and I will put these in the chat. Actually, someone unmute and tell me if I put these in the chat right now, if they're gonna disappear when we
There.
there.
Yes.
So I'm not.
But there is a way that you can send a message once there is.
That's correct. You know, you're
in
right.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, goodbye. I'm gonna create these.
But yes, you're totally correct, Zobo. And then like me wanting to work in the hospital, I'm like, it's gonna be hard because I'm also a very empathetic person and having to like detach my feelings because I love kids. So having to like detach my feelings from like their situation, it's gonna be a little bit hard. But you know, obviously with hopefully years in my field, it'll get better.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a big reason why they don't want us dealing with the mental health part of things with
Yeah.
campers and reaching out for the hotline because that can have a dramatic effect on us, like the connection we'd have with the kid and then hearing about what they're going through and stuff like that. That's already gonna emotionally affect us.
Right.
So, what are the best techniques for listening to campers and their experiences? Um, I feel like just sitting and listening and making sure they are feel like they're validated, they're being listened to, because they depending on the situation, they might not be able to talk about that stuff at home or not might not feel comfortable. And if one of the children feel comfortable telling you what their experiences are, that's a really big thing and you don't want to take that for granted. But
Exactly.
I feel like especially for the very empathetic people, practicing emotional detachment and being like, I can't control what they're going through. I can't control how they feel. I can get them the help they need if they need it, but I can't fix them, you know? Having that mentality of I'm here to help them, I'm here to support them, I'm here to get them the help they need, but I can't make everything all okay. And just having the mentality. I'm trying to think of anything else. Do you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say just being a listening ear and then also getting them help regardless of like how drastic or like small you feel the situation is. Um because you know, you have a different what's that called? You have like a different mindset than you know them on how their feelings are. Only they know what their like feelings are and how severe they are. So you know, I wouldn't really look past it like, oh, that's just something small. No, it could be something very, very like important to them. So
Yeah.
just getting help regardless of, how you feel the situation is, you know, the severity of it basically.
Yeah. Okay. What are the best ways to support and acknowledge a camper's experience? Um, I think that the best ways would depend on the situation,
Yeah.
but I feel like overall, um, once again, just being a listener and just not putting in your own like if they say something about how they're feeling like depressed or something like that, don't be like, oh yeah, me too, or anything like
Yeah,
that.
we can't do
Don't
that
put in your
at all.
own don't put in your own like experiences, because that will make them feel like, oh, like it's it's not about my experiences. You've changed the subject onto
Yeah.
your experiences.
Yeah, I also
Sorry, my
think that
cat.
right.
My cat
I
too.
also think that like that goes with language as well. Like you're saying, like we can't say that at all. Like, I understand that sometimes we also want to share our personal feelings, but that's what our staff meetings are for. Like we can't tell that to our kiddos. Um,
Mhm.
and then the one thing that I would say is I know that you want to say, I understand you, I'm here to listen, but that little part that, I understand what you're going through is like,
Yeah.
so to the campers is like, do you really? Like, you haven't,
Mhm.
or some of, our counselors have, you know, been through the same situations, but
Mhm.
some of them haven't. So just watching like your language and what you say when you're trying to help.
Yeah. And even like the counselors who have been through the same thing, like there's still a big difference because we're all unique humans who have each unique mindset, and we
Right.
react to things differently. So yeah. All right. What should we do if we disagree with a camper's assessment or find what they say to be factually incorrect?
About their experience or like,
I don't know. I
think
feel
maybe
like if it's about their experience, we just kind of still support them. Like
yeah,
if something seems off, you still support them because they're still like going through stuff. But
I think it may be in regards to like their parents' cancer journey. Maybe I think that's where the factually incorrect thing kind of comes about. They may be like talking about it, and it may not be like scientifically factually correct, but like I think that may be what it is, what it's talking about there,
Mhm.
which it's also really not our place to
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
say. And
especially for the younger kids that may not understand everything, um, or like may not understand it how the older kids understand it. But like I wouldn't say, that's not right. Like this is what it is because I mean, we don't know their parents like they do. So
yeah, and like there, I would also say like, especially for the younger ones, their parents maybe if they aren't sharing all the information, they may be telling them something to make it seem less scary, and so then they're
yeah,
an understanding of it for the time being because that's what their parent wants. You know what I mean? So it's not definitely not our place to like correct them.
I
Um,
I've got to ask, Kaylee, were you here the whole time? I honestly thought it was just
but
me and Elsa for a while.
not the whole time. I came in like maybe after like a minute or two, but yeah, I've been hanging out. I've just been listening,
Oh,
hearing
okay.
some stuff.
I was like on the chat looking at the questions, so I didn't even see you. And
You're
I
so
don't know.
no, yeah, I've just been hanging out, just listening. I freaked out for a second because I was like, oh no, if the audio on my computer isn't working, does that mean that I'm not recording the audio right now? But that's not how Zoom works. So I'm learning as I go. So
I actually take a grief and loss class next semester, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, that'll be like really. I like that actually. That's really interesting. I
Yeah,
wish I.
it's a major requirement.
You're in child development, right?
Child life, but it's kind of the same, you know.
Sweet. All right. I just realized that we've been in here for a really long time. Take everyone back.
Okay.
Also, this is me on my computer still in the breakout room. So I was like, why is nothing happening? That's why.
Sorry, I get kicked out of my breakout room. My signal's like off and on.
It okay.
I've just been sitting here alone thinking about how to comfort counselor or comfort campers.
I love that.
We had a moment of silence for you, Lucky. Don't worry.
A moment of silence. That's funny. Okay. I think everyone's back now. So who would like to share first? I guess we'll just go question by question. That'll probably be easiest. So for our first question, how do you differentiate between sympathy and empathy? Who wants to share for that one?
I'll share. I'm super excited about this question because I love this topic. Um, I wrote a whole paper for English, like a 6-page paper over the difference between sympathy and empathy. And with sympathy, it's definitely more of a support thing. You don't feel what they're feeling. You're sitting there like acknowledging they're going through stuff, acknowledging their emotions, acknowledging everything they're going through and validating them for it, and completely like understanding that they're going through stuff. While empathy, especially coming from an empathetic person, is literally like putting yourself in their shoes, feeling everything they're feeling in your point of view to understand their emotions. And it's actually really used by therapists, mental therapists, emotional therapists. But it's really bad if you don't know emotional detachment. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're not really supposed to, like, if the kids need help, we go to the hotline because we're not therapists. We don't practice emotional detachment like that. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for that. I think you brought up an interesting point as well, because a lot of times we just focus on the fact that like us trying to give professional advice to kids is harmful for them. But then also, like you said, emotional attachment, like that can also be really hard on us, like our own mental health. So that's a really good point you made. Thanks, Obo. Does anyone else have anything to share on that, or we can move on to the next question?
Yeah, so that was really great. I hope you got a good grade on that paper. I always thought of it as sympathy is feeling for someone and empathy is feeling with someone. It's just how I always differentiate between the two quickly, you know.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. I think let's move on to the next question. Unless someone else has something else to say, you can interrupt me for sure. But number 2, what are the best techniques for listening to campers and their experiences? Don't be shy.
I think active listening is a good technique, and asking questions that are pertinent to whatever's going on, and just making sure that they know that you're like the eye contact stuff. Nice active listening techniques.
Adding on to that, what I talked with Elephant about was when you're listening, not putting in like comments, like don't if they're like sitting there like saying like, oh, I feel depressed about like this, you don't be like, yeah, me too. Like you don't put in your own comments and your own views on things. It's at that point, if they're trusting you enough to tell you about their experiences, you just listen. Don't put in your own comments. You don't want to make them uncomfortable or make them feel like what they're saying is not valid.
Perfect. Excellent. That's a really good point too. I feel like I try really hard not to do that. But it's so easy to do because you want them to you want them to know you're listening, but yeah, you can't be throwing out, yeah, I'm depressed too. I'm right there with you. Because that definitely just takes it away from them, and then they'll feel like you're not even really paying attention to them. You really just want to talk about yourself. So perfect. And again, interrupt me if anyone else has something to share. But let's move on to number 3. So what are the best ways to support and acknowledge a camper's experience?
I think that kind of like not in the same, but kind of goes with like answers for number 2. Just being there and like validating their feelings, and you know, like I was telling Jobo and Nacho, like because they have a different mindset on the severity of their experience. Like we can't say, to ourselves like, that's something small. So I don't really see the need for them to, talk to a mental health professional. Um basically we can't really judge their severity, because we're not really in the same shoes as them. So also just like, if they come to talk to you, just get help, like regardless of how you feel, if it's like big or small.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great point to make as well, because we don't know the severity of things like that. If a camper speaks to you, and even if you're like, maybe that's a small thing, definitely reach out. If not, to the hotline, definitely to the camp advisor, because even if it ends up just not even really being a big deal, you still want to share it just in case it is. Better safe than sorry, for sure. So, Vodia.
Yeah, I was gonna add on. um, Also, like getting rid of the mentality of, oh, well, this person has it worse than me. If there's 2 campers and they're both going through stuff, but one camper has a mentality that like the other person's going through worse, so they don't matter, we want to like try and get rid of that and make sure that the campers know that no matter what they're going through, even like I said, it depends on the person. Every person's different, every person reacts different. One person could be going through something really hard and like have a mentality that's like great, while one person could be going through like a minor inconvenience in another person's eyes, and they're really really struggling. And we can't have that mentality of, oh, well, this person's going through worse, so I should be okay. I just need to make sure that they feel completely validated no matter what their circumstance. So.
Perfect. Yeah, that is a great addition to that. Yeah, I have nothing to add because that was so good. Okay. If anyone else has anything, let me know. Let's move on to number 4. So, what should we do if we disagree with a camper's assessment or find what they say to be factually incorrect? And this can be in regards to their experience, and also like the diagnosis of their parent, just like the cancer journey in general, if something isn't maybe factually correct about, you know, what kind of treatment their parents doing or things like that. What should we do if we disagree with that?
Okay, I know one thing that Elephant actually mentioned this. I just remembered this. With smaller kids, especially, they probably don't know as much as about what their parents are going through, and their parents might be telling them something that is kind of lighter, so they are not as scared of what is going on. They don't want the children to be like scared of like whatever their circumstances. So and also it's really hard for us to judge what the parent is going through from what the kids are saying because they know their parents better than we do. So they could be saying something and we might be like, okay, that doesn't sound right, but maybe that's what they're supposed to know depending on the child and how they'll react.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not our place to correct a child in general, but like just to correct them, especially in regards to one, their own experiences, because we're here to validate them. They know themselves better than anyone. So we shouldn't be invalidating their experiences. And we also shouldn't be trying to correct the experience of their parents' cancer journey. Because like you said, they know their parent the most, and their parent may be telling them something to make sure that they are not scared of, you know, what's coming or what has been happening. So perfect. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Perfect. Well, yeah, excellent. Oh my gosh, not my dictionary coming up. Okay. Yeah, those are great responses. Let's move on now. So that was the thinking task. Let's move on to the emotional task, which again, sorry. Anyway, okay. So again, the emotional task is wanting to express how they feel. So campers use 3 ways to show how they're feeling. So words, so having campers, you know, sharing their experience through words, them talking to you through discussions, through play. So play that allows kids to work out a lot of social skills, and that can be extremely powerful for our campers' journey. Through grief, just knowing that they have other people there that, you know, can understand where they're coming from, and then also through behavior. So I think let's start. Yeah, no, this is correct. Okay. I was like, I felt like I was missing something. Okay, yeah. So creating a safe space. So this is what we talked about at the very beginning. This is our ultimate goal, is to create a safe space for our campers. So some techniques for creating the safe space is listen carefully without judgment or criticism. So again, those active listening skills through cabin chats, empowerment ceremony, and other times to talk. Obviously, we always say that like camp isn't necessarily about sharing those more like emotional experiences, but we're always available to our campers if that is something that they want to talk about. And then taking or making time to listen and follow up with campers about non-grief related things. And again, if there is something grief related, that is where you would turn that over to a mental health professional, the hotline, or a camp advisor. And then avoiding statements like, I understand and I know, which is what we kind of talked about a little bit ago, and using statements like, that sounds tough, or you're brave for sharing that with me, or thank you for sharing that with me. Just making sure that they know that you're just there to listen. Okay. Oop. Sorry. Okay, moving on. So expression through play. So play helps kids learn in a lot of different ways. So leadership, communication, social boundaries, negotiation, self-expression, sorry, responsibility, sportsmanship, and making friends. So now we're going to just spend a couple of minutes discussing this question. We're not going to go to breakout rooms for this, but how do activities at CASM encourage these kinds of ideas that I just said? And how could we encourage these ideas more if that's needed? So what do we do at camp that really encourages these kinds of skills, whether it's leadership skills, communication skills, anything like that?
I'm going to speak on leadership skills. I think it encourages their confidence, to like, for them to let them know, like, you know, if I can do this, you know, I may be able, you know, I'm stronger than I possibly think. Or if I can lead, you know, whatever I'm leading, I'll feel more comfortable or like brave to speak out about my situation, and, you know.
Of that, with leadership and practicing that, when I was a camper and I was doing all the LIT stuff, um, like at like in-person camp, they had me and Peaches lead one of the water activities, and it was kind of like surreal because I was never like one of those people who got out and like did leadership stuff, and I was always kind of like the shy, like kind of stand back sort of person, let someone else lead. And that also helps like with everyday life. It helps me to get more confident in like in my personal life, in just leadership overall. And I was going into my senior year, so I had to do a lot of leadership stuff for show choir and stuff too, which that really helped. So
I feel like we also do a lot of team building activities that kind of help support all of these. So like leadership, you know, like some of the kids might push to be the leader in that situation. If they need to step up and do that, it encourages communication between everybody and responsibility, and encourages support of everyone. So that way the campers know that they're not alone. They have a whole team around them who want to encourage them to do their best, even if they feel like they can't do it at that moment.
Perfect. Yeah, those are excellent responses. Yeah, I also don't really have anything to add. That was really, really great. Yeah, like Raptor kind of said, I mean, really all the different activities we do hit on either one or multiple of these. That's not how you say that, but some of these. So yeah, so as you can see, obviously, like what we do at camp, you know, it is, you know, it's fun, but it also is really helping these kids practice these kinds of skills. So okay, moving on. This one's gonna be kind of wonky. Bear with me. So our next thing is just showing their feelings through behavior. So I'm gonna actually share this handout with you guys in the chat. So give me 1 second, because we're gonna go back to breakout rooms and talk about this as well. But I can do things, I promise. You should have access to that link. I'm hoping you do. If you don't, let me know. Okay, so showing feelings through behavior. So some people struggle with communicating their feelings. So a camper may not be willing to like sit down and tell you, but they may just show them in different ways. And so those 3 ways, which is what we're going to look at in the handout, is inwardly directed behavior, outwardly directed behavior, and overachieving behavior. So give me 1 second. So let's take like 2 minutes, I guess, just in a big group right now, making sure that everyone can access that link, because I don't know if you can or not. And then just kind of looking it over. And then we will go into breakout rooms to talk about it. So I'll give you a couple minutes to go over really quick.
I'm sorry, where do we find that link?
Be in the chat. Did it go in the
Oh.
chat? I'm hoping it did. Sorry, I know it might be hard for those that are on their phones. So hold on, let me get it pulled up. There should be a section that says behaviors and suggestions for help, but maybe there's not. Let me get it pulled up, sorry. Oh, that's literally all okay, perfect, yeah, it's all on one screen, yeah. So just take a look at this. I guess I forgot I can share it on my screen. So if that's easier for some people to just look at my screen, you definitely can, it's on there. And as you are looking at this, be thinking of, we're actually not going to do breakout rooms because we don't have that many people. So we don't need to do that. So be thinking of maybe a couple of more ideas on how to help for the how to help parts under each behavior. Be thinking of things that we could possibly add to each of those.
Would examples of those techniques be helpful too? Or
Yeah.
it could be
I think it would be perfect. Yeah. And if anyone wants to just share, like, as you're going through, so we don't forget, by all means, unmute and share.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely can think of some campers that fit a lot of this stuff like to a T. I was with the Green Crocs, so outwardly directed behavior. There's a couple of campers, the troublemakers that definitely hit all those on the head and can speak to, large motor activities. Great release, tucker the kids out, if you like, and it's more, you can't really do that on Zoom. So, I mean, you could, I don't know. I'd have to think of something as a way to do it on Zoom, but like at camp, we could organize, like, we would race or something like that. Just like we would have a way for them to subtly, become engaged and let that stuff out. And then, there was a marked difference in their behavior afterwards.
For sure. I guess with that one, like, especially like hyperactivity and like wanting to get up and kind of move around, like, one, I would say, like, as long as it's not distracting, because we do have just some campers that just do that on their own. And I would say as long as it's not like no one's getting hurt and it's also not like super distracting to the group, like just letting them do that, because some kids just need to have that. But also maybe just incorporating some kind of movement, like a fun, especially with like cabin chats, I guess, maybe before you get started, just doing like a fun thing before where they can get up and get the wiggles out, so to speak. Be really helpful. Does anyone have anything, maybe another way to help for inwardly directed behavior? That one's kind of a little more difficult, but does anyone have anything to add?
I like how in the how to help section it kind of looks a little similar to like exposure therapy, where you do offer them small challenges at first, and then the challenges get bigger and bigger as they get more acclimated to the environment. So I think on Zoom, what that would look like would be perhaps every once in a while calling on this camper and being like, what do you think? And just kind of making sure that they're included in the conversation. And as they get more comfortable, which hopefully that would happen, then they start to be able to possibly share unprompted.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have anything to add for inwardly directed behavior? Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Not this. Sorry, one second. Okay. Okay, let's move on to overachieving behavior. What is another way that we can help in addition to what's listed there? Sorry. Thank you. My cat is my pride and joy. I think just kind of adding on, it's not even really an extra one, but I really liked the how to help the praise silliness. I feel like a lot of times, oh, sorry, I got kicked off. A lot of times, at least in personal experience, that often gets called out as if that's like some awful behavior or something, like to be, I don't know, silly. I think it's fun, and this is camp, and camp should be fun. So like, if someone is being silly and like acting like that, don't get mad at them. Like, as long as it's not like hurting someone or being distracting, like definitely like, praise silliness.
Yeah, everyone can have a little silly goose time together. Even. You don't have to just be serious all the time. I definitely think this is a good list that I like a lot. Like it's kind of hard to add to because like they're
Perfect. Yeah. And I think Elephant just put something in the chat, like especially for like the older kids. Absolutely. Because I feel like maybe a lot of times the older kids, yeah, like you're too old to act that way. But like it's not hurting anyone. Like let people have fun. Let people enjoy things for sure. And especially like because of what our campers are going through, like this should be a time for them to be a kid and have fun and act silly. Absolutely. Okay. Well, if no one else had anything to add, that was excellent. Oh, I didn't know I made slides. Look at me. Look at me go. I already made slides for this. Okay, so moving on. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. We already did that. And I was supposed to be listing those and I didn't. So that's on me. Sorry about that. Okay, perfect. That was actually the end. So overall, just something to take away from this whole little workshop is be there, listen, and use other resources. Like we've said before, if something something is above what you are able to give, reach out to our camp advisor, reach out to the hotline. Those resources are there for us and for our campers, and so we should definitely be using them. We actually have a closing activity for this, so just kind of want everyone to take a couple of deep breaths, maybe close your eyes, just relax for a minute. And as you do that, just think about a time where you felt safe and loved and happy. So let's just take a couple of minutes to do that and unwind. Okay. So now that you have kind of reminisced on hopefully some great memories, I just want to ask a couple of questions. So in those memories you had, were you with other people? So raise your hand, throw an emoji in. How many of you were with other people in those memories? Yeah. Were you doing something that you really liked to do? Thumbs up. Yeah. And were you having fun? Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, just by being at Kesem, we are really creating just the right atmosphere for our campers and our staff to create really awesome memories where they feel safe and they feel loved and they feel happy. So after everything that we do, just being able to create that space may just be the best thing that we can do to help with grief and loss. So thanks for doing that with me. That was nice. Nice time to relax. So okay, we are done with this one.